Hi, this is Bonnie Barker with BonnieBayCrochet.com, and I'm really excited to start this project with you today. This is the Lisdoonvarna Shawl video 1, and I just wanted to show you this lovely material I'm going to be using. This is Barocco's Vintage DK, and just so that you can see some of the information here, 52% acrylic, 40% wool, 80% nylon. It's a really nice, nice fiber to work with. Okay, now I'm using a slightly different color than the original model. The original model called for the color, I believe it was sour cherry. This is a different color, and I'll show you the color number should you want to get this. It's number 2167, available from Barocco.com. All right, well, let's go ahead and begin. We're going to go ahead and start this pattern. We're using a size I crochet hook, or the hook that's needed for you to get the same gauge. The gauge is available on the purchase pattern. I just wanted to let you know that it's available from Annie's.com. I no longer own the rights to this, but to this pattern, but Annie's has graciously allowed me to make these videos to help you along. I do highly recommend you get a copy of it. It cost maybe about the cost of a latte and a cookie at Starbucks. Okay, so it's not going to break the bank or anything. But by purchasing that, you will help ensure that companies like Annie's and designers like me can continue to design high quality patterns for you. Okay, first thing we're going to do is chain. It says with the size I hook, chain 253 chains. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start with my slip knot. I'm not going to bore you to death with 253 chains, but I'm going to show you how I keep track with such a large number. With such a large number of chains, it's easy to lose the number, lose track, especially if someone walks in the room and starts talking to you, and you know how that goes. I count by fives, and I go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I reposition. 6, 7, 8. See, 8, 9, 10. And do that again. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, etc. All the way to 253. Another thing about this is the foundation chain, so you're going to want to crochet it kind of loosely. If you tend to be a tight crocheter, you may need to bump the hook up just for the foundation chain row. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish this chain, and then I'll get back to you with the next step. Still working in row 1, which says to chain 253. We have 253 chains now. And it says to single crochet in second chain from hook and in each chain across. Okay, a lot of different ways of doing this. I like to work in the side of the chain. Honestly, it really doesn't matter because we're going to be crocheting around the entire piece. The chain's going to be hidden. So do the best, your preferred method here. So I'm just going to single crochet in every chain across. At the end of this row, I will have 252 single crochets, and that's going to be a significant number that we're going to stick with as far as our stitch count, I believe, throughout this time of crocheting the stole portion of this shawl. I'll go ahead and finish these 252 single crochets and come back to you. Now that I finished row 1, I wanted to show you something. There is a slight curl to this row. I just wanted to show you that, this is normal and not to worry about it if yours does this. The next row is going to take a lot of the curl out. And after the next 2 rows, if you still are getting a lot of curl, you may have to undo this and redo the foundation chain with the larger crochet hook like I suggested. But once you do the larger crochet hook, if you have to do that, make sure you go back to your gauge hook afterwards, okay, for this pattern. Okay, we're ready for row 2. We are going to chain 1, and we are going to turn, and then it says to single crochet in each stitch across, turn. So we are just going to work another row of single crochet. So I'll go ahead and work my 252 stitches, and I'll get back to you. Now that we finished row 2, it's time to start row 3. And this row is called the low front ridge. So we're going to chain 1, turn. And in this stitch, we are only going to work in one of the loops. We're just going to work in this loop, the front loop of the stitch. Okay. And then for row 4, we're going to come back and we will work in the remaining loop. Okay, it'll also be working in the front loop when we come back that direction. Okay, and this row will not affect your stitch count because the next row we're only going to work in the single crochets. But for now, and in order for this stitch to look really good, we're going to skip the first single crochet and we're going to start by working a slip stitch in the second crochet in the second stitch and each one across. I'm just working in, let's see if I can turn this so you can see it better, just the front loop. Okay, we're going to do this all the way across the row, and for this particular time we will work in the slips in the turning chain. We'll work the last slip stitch in the turning chain. But again, this will not affect the stitch count because it's the following row that will determine and help to maintain our constant stitch count as we go. Okay, let me finish the 252 stitches, get my number correct, and I will be back. Okay, I want to show you the end of this row. I'm just still working my slip stitch, and then I'm going to work the last one in the turning chain right here. I'm going to chain 1, I'm going to turn. Now we're only going to work in the single crochets. We're not going to work in the turning chain. And the first loop might be kind of hard to find, but you can see the single crochet is right here. So the first loop might be a little tricky to see. It's the remaining loop, and we're going to work a single crochet. Let me pull that loop a little bit closed. We're going to work a single crochet in the remaining loop all the way across. Okay, this would be row 4. Okay, we're going to work all the way across. I'm hoping you can see this remaining loop clearly. Okay. And again, do not work in the turning chain at the end of this row, just work in the single crochets. Okay, I'm going to work that all the way across, and then I will show you what we have when we return. Okay, now that we've finished row number 4, we're going to begin rows 5 and 6, which will be the arrow rows. Okay, so for the arrow row, we're going to chain 2, and this pattern has a slightly different variation. If you ever watch my films, my videos on the individual stitches, it will vary on how you start these, depending on the multiple of the design. Okay, so for this particular one, we're going to double crochet in the first 2 stitches. Let me show you one thing I just did here. I did chain 2, I did not chain 3. That might be different for some of you, and the reason I did that is I didn't want a gaping hole here, and yes, I do crochet in the very first stitch of the row. Okay, I don't skip the first stitch. I don't want to have a hole there, if that makes sense. Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to get ready to do a treble crochet, and we're going to skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, and then we're going to treble in the next stitch. Now working behind that treble crochet, we are going to double crochet in the 3 stitches that we just skipped. Okay, let's take a look at that so that you can see what I just did. We're going to just do that all the way across. Get ready, we're going to skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, and in the 4th stitch we're going to do a treble crochet, working behind the treble we're going to double crochet in the 3 stitches. So do be careful that you do a treble crochet. Let's go ahead and show you. Make sure that when we do this stitch, we are doing a treble crochet. I have to wrap the hook twice. Now when we work behind that, we're doing double crochets where you only have to wrap the hook 1 time. I'll do this one more time, and then I will leave you to do this all the way across. Skip 1, 2, 3, and we will treble crochet in the next stitch. Now we're going to work behind the treble, and we're going to work 3 double crochets right there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and work this all the way across, and then I'll show you what I have at the end, and I will work the last 2 or 3 stitches of this row with you. Okay, we come to the end of row 5, and at the end of this row we've worked our last arrow stitch there, and then we're just simply going to do a double crochet in the last 2 stitches. Okay, now we're going to chain 2, we're going to turn, and we're going to work a double crochet in the first 2 stitches like so. Now what we do next is what we're going to do all the way across. Now we're to our arrow row again, and we're going to do a treble crochet. We're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, which were the double crochets, and we're going to treble crochet in the 4th stitch, which should also be the top of the treble crochet from row 5. Okay, we do a treble. Now we're going to do 3 double crochets, but working in front of the treble crochet. See, right now we're looking at the back side of our work. So that's 1, 2, sorry for all the motion, 3. Okay, now we'll go ahead and we will do that all the way across the row for row 6. We're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, which are the double crochets, treble crochet in the next stitch, which again should be the treble crochet, and then we're going to double crochet in the 3 stitches that we just skipped. Okay, we are looking at the back side, but I'm going to show you. This is what it looks like from the front side. So you see the arrow portion forming. So go ahead and do this all the way across the row. Now that I'm at the end of the row, I'm going to simply double crochet in the last 2 stitches, and we're ready to go to rows 7 and 8. Okay, we're going to turn, chain 1, and for both rows 7 and 8 it's simply single crochet in each stitch across. Okay, working through both loops, unless it's always working through both loops, unless unless I say just the front loop or just the back loop or whatever. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish rows 7 and 8, which is just single crochet. I'll go to the end of the row, chain 1, and then single crochet all the way back, and then when we return we will go on to rows 9 and 10. Now that we've completed rows 7 and 8, it's time for us to go to rows 9 and 10. Now rows 9 and 10 are actually a repeat of what we did down here, rows 3 and 4. So the instructions say simply to repeat rows 3 and 4. I'll go ahead and get you started on this just as a reminder. We're going to skip the first stitch, and we're going to work, this is working the low front ridge. We're just going to work in the front loop only and work a slip stitch in each stitch all the way across, just like so. Okay, just slip stitch all the way across, and when we get to the end we will slip stitch in the turning chain. Remember, this row does not have any bearing on our final stitch count. It's the row that follows this. So once we finish this row, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and then we will work in the remaining stitch or the remaining loop of each stitch, which is right here. We will go in this loop, and we will crochet our single crochet in the returning round, or I'm sorry, row, just like we did down here. Okay, so rows 9 and 10 are repeat rows 3 and 4. I'm going to go ahead and repeat both rows 3 and 4, and then I will come back and we will work on the woven stitch. Now that we've completed rows 9 and 10, just wanted to show you what you should have here. Okay, this is what we have so far. Now we're going to start row 11, which starts the woven stitch. To do that, we're going to chain 2, and the woven stitch is going to be working through both loops, but we're going to be doing this in every other stitch or every other single crochet in this row. In subsequent rows, it's going to be in every space between the woven stitches, but right now we'll go ahead and start this row 11. We're going to skip the first one. We're going to wrap the hook, stick the hook in to the space, pull up a loop. Now this is where it gets a little different. Pull through one loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's the first half of the woven stitch. We're going to wrap it again, stick the hook in, pull up a loop, and we do not wrap it again. We just pull it through the 2 loops on the hook, and that's the woven stitch. We're going to skip this stitch, and we're going to do another one and the one right next to it. We wrap the hook, stick the hook in, pull up a loop, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2, wrap, stick the hook in, pull up a loop, and pull through 2. Let's do that a couple more times. It's an awkward stitch at first, but once your muscle memory gets a feel of it, it will kick in and go a lot faster. Okay, we're going to skip the next stitch rather. Wrap the hook, stick it in, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up another loop, and pull through 2. Yarn over, I'm skipping the stitch there, and for every other stitch, and I'll do a couple more. Yarn over, I'm going to skip the next stitch, and stick it in, pull up a loop, pull through 1 loop on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, stick it in, pull up a loop, and just pull through 2. Okay, this is what we have so far. I'm going to do 2 more because this is maybe the first time some of you have seen this stitch. It's a little different, but I think you're going to really like it. It adds a nice variation to crochet fabric. Okay, yarn over. We're going to skip this one. Stick the hook in, pull up a loop, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then just pull through 2. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this all the way across. The last stitch will be worked, or the last woven stitch should be worked in the last single crochet of the row. Okay, I'll go ahead and finish that, and then I'll show you what it looks like to work in between these loops. Now that we've worked at the woven stitch in the last stitch, there we go, in the last stitch of the row, we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to begin row 12, which says to chain 2, work woven stitch, row in space between each woven stitch. So as you're looking at the woven stitches, there's a space in between each one, and that's exactly where we're going to work our stitches. I'll work a couple of them to show you. Also, don't forget to chain 2 and not 1, because when you get to the very end of this, the last woven stitch will be worked in the chain 2 space right here. Okay, so I'll just work a couple of these. I'm going to yarn over, stick it in between the 2 woven stitch, pull up a loop, pull it through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up another loop in the same space, and then pull through 2 loops on the hook like so. Yarn over, put it in the space in between the next 2 woven stitches, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2. I'll do 1 more. Yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull through 2 stitches. So I want to show you what this is looking like from the right side. Of course, the wrong side is facing or the back side is facing us right now. Okay, so this is row number 12. Now we're going to do the same thing back and forth using the woven stitch for rows 13 through 21. So when we complete row 21, we should have 11 rows. Okay, 11 rows of woven stitch, and then we will work the row to discontinue this stitch. So go ahead and work rows 13 through 21, which is a repeat of row 12, which is the row that we're on now. So when you have 11 rows of woven stitch, you can rejoin, and we will show you how to discontinue this row. Now that I've completed rows 13 through 21, I wanted to give you a look at this. And I also wanted to do one other thing. I wanted to measure this so that you get an idea of how wide this section should be. Okay, I'm getting approximately 3 3/4 of an inch. Okay, yours doesn't have to be exactly 3 3/4 of an inch. It might be 4 inches. It might be 3 1/2. It's not super critical here, but what is critical is sometimes people have a hard time with this woven stitch and can tend to pull it really, really tight. If that is you, you may need to bump up to a larger size hook. Let me also show you, the ending of this. It's reasonably straight. I will say that this stitch may tend to look a little bit bigger at this stage. It may bulge a little bit more at the end. If that is you, don't worry about that too much, because the row that we're going to work next, which is the row to discontinue the woven stitch, it's row 22 in your pattern. That is going to bring things back into check, so it won't be too large. Now if it's really, really excessively large, much larger than this, if I hold it like this, you can see that this does look a little bit wider here. That is not a problem. What we're going to do next is going to fix that. It's going to kind of rein it in a little bit, and things will be okay. But I just do want to make sure that you have the freedom to change to the larger size hook if you're crocheting this extremely tight. So always know that. The crochet hooks are always a suggestion. It's actually what the designer used in the process of designing the pattern. What you need may vary, and always feel the freedom to change that. Okay, so let's go ahead and go on to row 22. I'm going to chain 1. We've been chaining 2 at the end of the woven stitch, but we just chain 1 because we're going to discontinue that. And the instruction says 2 single crochets in each space between woven stitches and in turning chain. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to simply single crochet, 2 single crochets in the space in between the woven stitches all the way across. And don't forget, also 2 single crochets in the turning chain. And that will bring our stitch count right back to where it was at 252. While we were working the woven stitches, it would have been half of that. Okay, so whatever 252 divided by 2 is, that would have been your woven stitch count. So I'm going to go ahead and finish putting 2 single crochets in between the woven stitches all the way across. Okay, let me give you one more assignment. Let me go ahead and flip it around. I haven't finished the row yet. I'm going to do that, but it's not necessary for me to show you that. This is what you should have. And from this point on, the instructions are for rows 23 through 42, repeat rows 3 through 22. So in a nutshell, from row 3, which would be the beginning of the low front ridge, through the arrow stitches, 2 rows of single crochet, the low front ridge, and the 11 rows of woven stitch plus the row to discontinue the woven stitch. You're going to do that again. Okay, if you need a stitch support on this, all you need to do is start this video again and begin with row 3, and you should be fine. Just repeat it exactly. After you do that, you're going to repeat rows 3 through 10. Okay, rows 3 through 10 will take you again back to the woven stitch, through the arrow stitch, 2 rows of single crochet, and the low front ridge stitches. Okay, those 2 rows. So rows 3 through 10 after you complete rows 3 through 22 a second time. Okay, after I finish that, that's a huge assignment. After I finish that, I'm going to come back and show you the edging round, which will actually complete the stole portion. Okay, so I will see you after I complete that amount. Okay, for the record, this is what you should have. You should have a piece that looks something like this with the arrow rows, the woven stitch, the arrow section again, another woven stitch, and another arrow section. Okay, let me give you the dimensions. The stole should be approximately 17 by 77 inches. If it's not exactly that, please don't worry. That's, I think, more of a ballpark figure for a design like this. If it's not exactly 77, not exactly 17, don't worry about that. If it's, if it's even close, you're doing fine. And depending on what kind of wool you've chosen, what kind of fiber, you might even be able to do some blocking if you choose in the end. But I really don't think it's going to be necessary with this design. All right, now we are ready for the edging round. Okay, this round is going to be worked entirely around the whole piece. So it says chain 1 and single crochet in each stitch across. So I'm going to go ahead and gonna single crochet in each stitch across. At this point you should have the front side facing. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and work this row with single crochet, and then I'll show you what to do when you reach the end of this row. I've come to the end of the row, which is actually part of a round, but I'm just calling it a row because I went across one end. And now we're going to chain 2. 1, 2, this is going to be for the corner. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start by putting a single crochet in the same place as the last one. That'll be my first one of this section. And I'm going to work 50 single crochets evenly from end to the next corner here. And what I would do is just keep in mind that this section here, when you get to the middle of this arrow, that's the midpoint. So you should have about 25 stitches. So by the time you go from the corner to the middle of the second arrow. Okay, so that might be a way to save a little bit of pain if you're, not real good at doing this across the end. It may take a couple tries, and that's okay. That's not unusual for me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work 50 stitches across the end. I'll just go ahead and start off a little bit here just to show you what I'm going to do. So let's see, that's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, and I really don't know if this is going to work the first time or not. 5, 6, 7. I'm just going to continue this and then I'll show you what I have. Okay, this is approximately 25 stitches, and so I just wanted to give you a feel just to see what the spacing might look like. Okay, so I'm just going to go with that. I like the way that this looks even, so I've got actually 26 was the center, so that's close enough for me. So now I have to do 24 more to the next corners, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, now I've got my 50 stitches across the end here. Okay, now I'm going to chain 2 again, and I'm going to single crochet in what remains of the foundation chain all the way across. Now also you can see I have a little strand here, and I don't like hiding strands, so I'm going to go ahead and do 2 things at once. I'm going to go ahead and single crochet. Again, this is in the same place where the last single crochet was made. Then of course I have my chain 2 here, and I'm just going to single crochet. This is across the foundation chain, and I am hiding the loose strand at the very same time. Let's go ahead and get some more yarn. So I'm going to go ahead and finish doing this all the way across. If you've never done this before, and you may have a hard time seeing the chain. What you can do is you can see how the stitch right here, you can see where the single crochet was. Just go right in the same hole right there. Okay. And instead of working through one strand, I just go ahead and work through the remainder of the foundation chain, so it will be completely hidden in this project. Might even be hard for a non-crocheter to find out where this actually started. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and I'll get back with you. Okay, I've come to the end of doing this single crochet all across the foundation side. I'm going to chain 2 again. I'm going to single crochet in the last place where I single crochet to form a corner, and you guessed it, I'm going to work 50 stitches evenly along this end. And just to review, I'm going to shoot for 25 for the middle, 25, 26 to get to this point here, and then, fill it out from there. So let me go ahead and do this across, and I'll show you what to do after you do this. Now remember, just as a little bit of trial and error, but try to just crochet, evenly the way you normally would. Okay, now I'll see what I get. Okay, this is the other end. Okay, I've got my 50 stitches across, and then so I've come to the place where we started this round. I'm going to chain 2 for a corner, and I'm going to slip stitch in the first single crochet of this round where we started. Okay, just like so. Pull it tight, and then I'm going to finish off. And then that will be the end of video number 1. So at this point you should have your stole part completed. Of course, it doesn't have lace yet. That will be video number 4. But if, for example, if you decided that you just wanted to have a stole only, you could easily just put lace on the ends of both of these and just go with a stole. But I go ahead and continue on to video number 2, and I will show you how to make the back section in that video. All right. God bless. Bye-bye.